I've been asked by a number of people to show how to load different cores onto the MiSTer FPGA project. Well, first thing you should do is go to the MiSTer Wiki, and you'll see that here's a MiSTer board with the optional, but not really optional, daughter board, which gives you a VGA output, audio output, optical sound, and most importantly, the fan over top of the FPGA, because that gets super hot. Now, the FPGA is actually industrial rated. I think it's rated to 100 degrees C, but I don't want to go and burn it out. I have noted that it gets up to 60 degrees C pretty darn quick. So if you don't have any proper cooling, I think it'll burn up fairly quickly. There's these buttons, which I don't know yet because I don't have this board yet. And I believe there's also another micro SD card, so you don't have to remove your primary SD card. On some cores, you have to have the secondary SD port, or it won't run. I believe one of them is the Atari 800. It will not. It will only accept programs from the secondary SD card. So what cores are available? Well, there are a lot of cores. You can see that there's the Apple, Atari, Coleco, Commodore 64, blah, blah, blah. Those are all 6502, but it's not limited to just the 6502 CPU. As you can see, there's a 486. I think that runs at 90 megahertz. Amiga, which is a 68,000 CPU. I see a Sinclair QL, which I believe is a Z80. So remember, it's not just the 6502 that it emulates. It emulates all of these, any processor that you can program electrically. Now, did I say emulate? I shouldn't say emulate. I should say replicate, because it replicates it at the electrical level. It's not an emulation. So let's download an Apple II core. So I click on this link here. I find the releases folder. And at this time, there's only one Apple II core. If there's multiple cores, when you go to it, pick the most up-to-date core. Click the download button and save it. Put in your SD card. Okay, here's the core we just downloaded. My SD card is here. Create a folder called Apple II Disks. Apparently I've done that already, but I don't believe I have any disks in there. So let's find a disk, and I hope this works on the first try. So let's see, where can I find? Let's look for Apple II disk images. Oh, spelled images wrong. Images. Let's go to the first one, Apple II Online. Let's go to the games library. Let's look under L. I wonder if Load Runner is on here. Load Runner. Okay. I wonder if that's just the manual or whether that's the whole game. We'll find out. So I've downloaded that. It's in my downloads folder. Let's unzip it. Oh. So let's copy this, go to where the Apple II disks folder is on your SD card and paste it in. Let's safely eject. So I'd already gone through and put the SD card in, load up the core, went to load the disk and found out that it doesn't accept DSK files but only NIB files. So is all lost? No. Fortunately, there's a program called Cider Press. So let's download this program. It's pretty small. Extract all. Install it. We'll do the no questions asked installation. Well, of course I do. I don't even know what I agreed to. You can't see my menu, but I'm going to run Cider Press. So here's Cider Press, version 4.03. And under the tools, we can do disk image conversions. So let's load our, let's delete that. Let's load our load runner disk. And let's convert it to an unadorned nibble. Click OK. We want to save it as .nib. Click Save. We're done with it. We don't need this thing anymore. Let's go into our load runner directory and copy our NIB to our Apple II directory. We don't need this file, so let's delete it. Now, let's actually put in the SD card. Hopefully you went and safely ejected that SD card. You've now put it into your FPGA board. And now we're going to power it on. Ensure that your monitor is on before you turn on MiSTer. There is our Apple core. Press enter and you get a nice black screen. Although you do see Apple II in the top corner. If you press F12, you'll be able to mount an NIB. So let's go to our Apple II disk directory and load runner. Okay, so we know our movement keys. Let's press 4. And it takes a while for this to start up. That's normal. It is a cracked version of load runner. And some of the things don't load as quickly as you'd expect. Well, here we are. And load runner is going. So that's how you load an Apple II core. Whoops, it occurred to me I forgot to let you hear those Apple II sounds. Now I'm going to use the keyboard, wireless keyboard I've got to move around. Let's see what my skills are like. Oh, that wonderful 1-bit sound. What's the key for? Oh, I forgot the key for digging. Let's see. Is it? I should have looked at that opening screen a little closer. Let's see if I press Q. Can I get out of this? There you go. Well, it's not important. That's the Apple II core running load runner.